My name is Daljinder Johal. We're currently in Leicester, which is my hometown and the town that I've returned to work from as a freelancer and a creative. Essentially, I work across journalism, marketing, production and curation in theatre, film and audio. I describe myself as a creative producer because I've always had a creative background and work very specifically in theatre and film to tell stories that are often joyful and thought-provoking from voices traditionally underrepresented in the arts and film industry. I never thought about a career in the sense of like a job title because I didn't know half of the job titles in the creative industries existed. I was always a creative kid. I wanted to be a creative adult. The only job I knew of was being like an author or something like that to make money. So now I've grown up and developed my skills in the creative industry. I think about it in more of like a skills-based way rather than a job title way. I'm more led by the stories that I want to tell and actually finding the right medium for them. So there's some stories that I found are particularly suited to audio that are really like close and intimate and like sometimes focus on familial stories, whereas actually then some of my film and theatre work has been like for wider audiences, thinking about big themes. Even when it comes to film and theatre, they're very two different models of saying selling tickets or then selling the film to distributors. And something I've always developed is an ability to kind of brand work from my marketing background, to talk about work, to sell it to different audiences from the journalism experience that I've had. And actually, I think it sometimes made me a stronger creative producer because all of those things aren't really thought about, but actually are really important to successfully not only making stories, but being able to share them with a wider audience. I think there's a lot of skills that people don't realise in terms of like negotiation, conflict resolution, and actually I think producers can really set the tone for a film or a theatre production or some of the audio work I do when you're working with creatives. You work with a lot of different people. Often my films are very diverse, where I've done a lot of LGBT plus focused work. People with disabilities often work on my films or we're telling those stories, and that could be physical disabilities, but it could be invisible disabilities and like neurodivergence. So actually you have to have the leadership skills to walk into a room, to bring a team together, very clearly set the terms of engagement. I think it's hard sometimes building a multifaceted career without having the chance to talk to other people who have maybe done the same, and I hope that some advice that I can impart is actually talking and listening to as many people is really important. So even how I ended up in the film industry as someone who had no links to it was having a mentor. So my career evolved into a cross-sector career. I think I knew it was maybe a possibility, mostly because my family has never had, or a lot of them haven't had a straightforward career in mind. So for example, my uncle is now a head teacher at quite a big school in Birmingham, but when we were growing up with him, he was in a reggae band. He grew up playing the saxophone. He played all over Europe and I think even further afield while building this teaching career. And while the teaching career has taken precedence now, he's ended up having that reggae band still play. But I think it's that growing up in that mentality of like, you don't have to be one thing as a person, you can enjoy multiple things. For me, I've just been lucky enough that they also happen to pay me.